I would like to introduce our main speaker, Kyle. Let's give him a round of applause.
Good afternoon. My name is Kyle Cannon, and I am an alcoholic. I definitely qualify to be up here. First off, the people that rose their hand that are willing to sponsor, will you stand up for a minute, please? So I want you guys to take a good look around the room. These are some gentlemen, I don't see any ladies standing yet, but that are willing to take you through a new life, right? Guide you through the steps, okay? Be there to support you, okay, and change your life. Sponsorship's extremely important. So if you guys do not have a sponsor, hopefully you took notes on who just stood up. Very important. So up here to give a little bit of my experience, strength, and hope. Okay, I'm not up here to be a comedian. I don't find sobriety very funny. I just don't. When I step into these rooms, I look for solutions. For the longest time, I swam in my problems. Now I soar in my solutions. That's the way I look at it. So, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the war stories. I will give you a little bit of background and how my disease progressed and almost took my life numerous times. I was born in Elko, Nevada. Anybody know where Nevada is? I was born in Elko, Nevada, small little town. And I was raised and I stayed there for the 18 years of my life. I had a wonderful upbringing. My folks are the best people I know. They supported me. They loved me. I had everything that I needed and more. I was very outgoing. I was very popular. I was a 3-star athlete. On weekends, we'd go hunting. I had a great life. I graduated in the top 100 of my class, and I'm not talking about my GPA, you guys. Okay? Recognition on how you treated your peers, your staff, your accomplishments that you made during your duration of 4 years in high school. I started dating my ex-wife my senior year. She was a junior. So I did some community college and hung around my friends in Elko. And a year later, we moved to Reno, Nevada to go to school. We moved in together. We had been dating for quite a few years by then. Huge support system. Very, very healthy relationship. And we started going to school. I wanted to be a physical therapist. That's where I was going. During that time, I acquired work at a local gym, 24-Hour Fitness in Reno, my hometown. It was actually right down from my apartment. And I went there to clean machines. 6 months later, I was personal training. I went and got certified. I figured this is what I'm going to be doing in physical therapy. I may as well start this career now. A year later, I was taking 19 to 21 credits and working 65 hours a week. Very successful, very driven, right? Any goal that I set out to accomplish, by damn it, I was going to accomplish it. I did that for 5 years. At 23 years old, I graduated with a degree in Bachelor's of Science in Biokinesiology, a minor in nutrition, minor in psychology. At that point, I was managing the club that I started training at. My wife and I were still together, or we were engaged at that time. A year later, I opened a business, bought my first house, we got married. I had cars, investments, making more money at 25 than I could have ever imagined. Like Bill said, I had arrived. Okay, everybody looked at it as success. Kyle did it right. Okay, I got married. I had the job. I had a business. I didn't even have to work a day in my life, and I could have just kept stockpiling cash. But I just seemed that I started working more and more. Right. We were putting my ex-wife through dental hygiene school, so she was at school and studying a lot. So what was I doing? I was coming home after a 14-hour day and painting bathrooms. Right? I did not understand at that time what I was doing with my life, but I do now. Okay? Dating back into high school, we say the tendency to drink like an alcoholic. It was no sense that even back in high school, I drank alcoholically. Every Friday night after a football game, we'd all get together and we'd buy beer and booze, right? And we would party until everybody but Kyle would pass out. okay? And I would be up sitting at the table drinking with my friend's alcoholic dad until wee hours of the morning, okay? By then it told me that I was an alcoholic at birth. I do believe that. That allergy has been in me since I came into this world. So fast forwarding back to college, I didn't live the college life. I was that normal person that you saw on a Friday night walking out of a supermarket with a six-pack of beer. Now I see those people and I laugh, right? What is this guy going to do with a six-pack on a Friday night? Right? What a loser. Okay? That was me. I'd go home on a Friday and have 2 or 3 beers like a responsible adult. The rest would stay in the fridge the rest of the week. Okay? It wasn't shortly thereafter that all of my distractions didn't work anymore. The 14-hour days, the people I was training, my physical fitness, going home and painting bathrooms and building decks. Okay, I no longer could distract my mind, and I no longer could sleep. I'd lay down at night and didn't like the person I was laying next to. It wasn't my wife. She was doing homework. It was myself. So, like the book says, we admit at first we started drinking because of the effect it produced. I'd take a big, tall drink, and I'd lay in bed, right? And all of a sudden, everything was okay. I fit in my own skin. I liked who I was laying next to. Things were great. I could sleep. My alarm would go off at 3:30, and I had slept for 4 or 5 hours. I felt great. Okay? Over a period of time, I'd wake up at 1 o'clock just saying, oh, shit. Pardon my French. Okay? That might come out of my mouth a couple times during this speech. So I'll just take a half a drink. That way it'll put me out for the next 2 hours. It wasn't a period of time, a long duration where I found I was drinking night and day. Right? No longer was I drinking for the effect. No longer was I drinking for the excuse I need to do it to fall asleep. I was drinking because I had a physical craving that I could not manage. If I stopped, I got sick. If I didn't have it, I had anxiety. My entire life fell apart. That's when I started noticing, like the book says, driven by 100 forms of fear, self-delusion, self-seeking, and self-pity. That was my life. Okay? And who could live through those conditions sober? Okay? I know that I can't, right? 100 forms of fear. I step out into my world. Okay? How scary is that? Okay? My production started declining and I started getting excessively sick. I was still going to work, same hours, same, drinking. I don't know how nobody knew that I was drinking as much as I was. Okay. All of a sudden, my health started to decline at a rapid rate. I was still taking care of everybody else, and I was still dying inside. My success on the outside was something to be valued. Okay, my insides did not match. I was dying slowly inside, and it wasn't just the alcohol, right? It was my self-delusions. It's how I felt about how I fit in this world. I didn't add up. I wasn't good enough. Every single time that I'd almost hit that bar that I put for myself or reach that goal, I'd set it higher. And I'd set it higher. Never once I'd allow myself to hit it and say, you know what, why don't you just be a kid again? Right? Why don't you enjoy the life that you've created for yourself? I was dead set on burning it down. Right? So I went to work one morning at 4 o'clock in the morning. I looked like an ashtray. You could feel the body heat coming off of me. I was throwing up, and I was there to take care of my clients, right? And they told me, Kyle, if you don't go to the hospital, we're going to call an ambulance for you. You're extremely sick. Well, okay. So I went home and tried to take a nap. I ended up in the hospital. I drove there. Checked myself in and woke up 9 weeks later. My pancreas had exploded. I'm not sure if you guys know how serious the pancreas is in the body. It's about 20 times stronger than battery acid. You can't live without it. Okay, and if it explodes, you die. For 9 weeks, I had a 6% chance to live. Surgery after surgery. I was in surgery every single day. My first day in the hospital was 11 months. 6 months in ICU and 3 on the general floor. I fought it for 4 years of my life. Okay, everything that I had worked so hard for, right? The things that I had prideful in my life, my ex-wife, my house, okay, my bank accounts, my investments, everything was gone within probably about 6 months. Okay, so that's a hard bullet to take, right? Okay, all because of alcohol, all because, I could not control my way of thinking. Okay, you're dying inside, so why don't you do more? Okay, you don't feel you're successful, so increase the bar so high that you're never going to be able to touch it. Don't reach out and ask somebody for help. Help somebody else, right? When I was in the hospital at one time, there's 198 people waiting in the waiting room and downstairs in the cafeteria to see me 2 at a time. They all loved me, and I was laying in a hospital bed because I hated myself, right? That is the realization that I've come to, okay, and that's why I've lived my life to this point like I have. Am I going to treat myself kind when I hate myself? Am I going to treat myself kind, right? When I set my goals out to help every single person that I can and forget about how I really feel. I tie myself here. Oh, goodness. Okay. So I fought through that, and I got healthy. They have removed 3/4 of my intestine, colon. They have removed half my pancreas, part of my small intestine, my gallbladder, my spleen. So if any of you guys want to shoot me, after this, shoot for my stomach. Chances are you're going to miss everything. Okay? I'm diabetic because of this. I check my blood sugar daily, and and also I don't know if you know what the colon does, but it has created issues in my life too. Okay? But I'm okay with that. Okay? I'm okay with that today. I'm accepting of it. I went the last 12 years after I've gotten sick blaming myself for burning my life down. Okay? Living in self-pity and guilt and shame. All of those 198 people that were there to see me, a lot of them I don't talk to anymore, right? Because all of a sudden I was there rocking, and then next thing you know, they see me dying in a hospital bed. Right? They knew something about me I didn't, right? It wasn't what I did. Okay, it's who I was. They saw the good in me and I didn't. I tell alcoholics and addicts this on a daily basis. Why I like working with this population is because it's the finest people that I know, right? We'll do everything for anybody else, right? We'll treat you with respect. We'll give away all of our stuff, okay? But in turn, we'll turn around and shoot ourselves in the foot every time, So let's see where I'm at here. So I fought through all of that, lost a house. I was staying with my parents. My ex-wife had left me. The emotional toll that took on me, not only was I, physically broken, but I was spiritually and emotionally just a wreck. I didn't date for 4 years. I didn't go out much. I could barely walk. I had to learn to walk and talk again. It took my brain a hell of a long time before it, had the clarity. There is some drugs in that story. I got highly addicted to pain medication in the hospital, which they knew what was going to happen. Okay, and then just like it said, eventually I needed it to cure my pain, and then all of a sudden I started using it to cover my emotions. That's when I got highly addicted to it and had to get off of it. While I was taking pain medication, alcohol wasn't on my mind, right? I had a different solution. I had a different drug that was covering up my way of thinking, my thoughts, my feelings, my emotions, right? The minute I got off my pain medication, the struggle stuck in, right? And I walked into the rooms right after I got sick. I got a sponsor, right? I did everything, single thing that they said, everything, right? But who was I doing it for? I was doing it for my family that just saw me almost die. I was doing it to try and get my wife back. I was doing it, for every other reason except for the reason that I'm doing it for, today. It's funny, I had a big book, And I tell everybody when I'm working with them, there's a page, and I used to stash my $100 bills in my big book. That's what it meant to me at that time, right? Because who's going to come in and steal a big book out of my dresser with my $100 bills in it, right? Oh, an AA book. I'm going to just leave it here, right? Well, there's all my money in there, okay? That's what that big book served a purpose for back then. It's no wonder that I didn't get a grasp on this program, right? Was I willing? No, I wasn't. Half measures availed us nothing. I spent 12 years in half measures, going through my steps but not being honest, not calling my sponsor daily. And I was at one that, oh God, I hope he doesn't answer so I could say that I called him, right? Don't answer. He didn't answer, right? But let me tell you something. I walked to 6, 7 different, gas stations, when I needed to drink. Okay? Most of them wouldn't sell it to me anymore, so I'd walk to another one. I'd pray for my sponsor that was going to get me sober and happy and, a life of peace and serenity, not to answer the phone, right? And I'd walk to 6 different gas stations, okay, to see which one would sell me alcohol. How serious was I? Did I have a gift of desperation? Did I want to be sober? No, right? I was still battling the demon so hard inside myself that I had no chance. So I lived in the program, that way. And there's times I just said, well, the program failed me. It says, rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. Well, I worked the steps, right? I called my sponsor a couple times a week. Okay, I went to some meetings. This is how I gauge, my program now and how safe I am from my next drink. Is the things that I have between myself and my disease. Okay, what is between me and my disease today? Okay, do I have a sponsor? I do. Do I call my sponsor? Yes. I miss days. I'm not perfect. Right? Do I have a big book? Yes. Do I read it? Yes. Do I have sponsees? I do. Right? Do I go to meetings? Yes. And there was a period of time I got busy and the meetings suffered. Right? Something that I had to evaluate. My sponsor and I talked about. So all of this stuff is between me and my disease right now. My God is in there. Right? I talk to him daily. My morning routine, my nightly review. Right? Sitting down at night just saying, okay, did I do it right today? Or what corrective measures need to be taken? I look back over my relapses because I had to do this. Right? I had to see what I had missed. You guys ever worked with a sponsor and you relapse and you come back, he says, what did you miss? Yes? No? Yeah, right? What did I miss? Okay, and every single time, the stuff between me and my disease suffered. Okay? I stopped going to meetings. I stopped talking to my sponsor. Right? I stopped reading my big book. I stopped praying. No longer was I working in a spiritual program. I was happy though, okay, because after all of that had come down, I put 2 things in between me and my disease. It was usually work in the gym. 2 things I used to distract myself, right? Distract me just like I did, okay, when I was working 14-hour days and painting rooms and running from my disease and my thoughts and my self-delusion, right? And I'm not talking about putting a relationship in between you and your disease. I'm not talking about putting a new car, a new job, okay? Because when those are gone, what do you have, right? You and your disease are sitting back to back, right? That's how every single one of my relapses has happened, right? So, the last 12 years I have had some time. I had 3 years once. I had a year. I had 18 months. I had 2 years. My last relapse, I actually relapsed in the morning of my 365th day of sobriety. And I had actually relapsed in my mind long before that, months before that. I'd done that exact same thing. The distance between me and my disease had gotten closer and closer and closer, and then finally one little small thing, okay, sent me overboard. So One would ask during those 3 years that I had, the 18 months, the year, the 6 months, whatever it is, did I consider myself sober? I did not have any mind and mood altering substances in my body, right, for that duration of time. Okay, but I was miserable, right? I was resentful. I didn't like the position I had in life, okay? I would wake up in the morning driven by 100 forms of fear, self-delusion, self-seeking, and self-pity. And it was only a matter of time. Okay? And at that point, I would find distractions to distract those 100 forms of fear. Okay? And there are things that I placed into my life. I'm going to talk a little bit about, and a lot of this I got from my sponsor, a lot of it I got from the big book, and a lot of it I got from Joe and Charlie. And it's very important to me, right? Because it's how I live my life today. But Joe and Charlie talk about it, is giving my will and my life over the care of God as I understand it, my higher power, right? Do you know the freedom that creates? It is a big world, and if you think you're important enough that world is going to move aside so that you fit in it, okay? It's going to, follow you around during the day and make sure that everything goes your way, okay? If you think that you are going to change somebody else's attitudes, okay, so that you get along with them, okay, good luck. I tried it for a long time. It's exhausting, right? It's very freeing. So how it was explained to me is my will, right? My will is my thinking, okay? Joe and Charlie call it my thinking apparatus. Well, I'm an intelligent person, right? I make good decisions. My intentions are good. And I just started hearing this from a rock band, Five Finger Death Punch. Good, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. It's so true, right? Although my intentions were good, I was always on a crash course of something or somebody, because there's that 5% of my will that has an extreme glitch in it. Okay, and if I'm living life on self-will, okay, things will go good. They'll go good for 3 years, and then all of a sudden I hit that 5% glitch where my sick mind, and I'm sick, right? My sick mind tells me something's going to be a good idea, right? Things are going good. Why not? You can get away with this. Nobody will know, okay? And usually by then, okay, if I haven't turned my will over and I've taken my will back, okay, I'm living unspiritually, which means it does seem like a good idea to pick up a drink or do some type of action that my intentions aren't true, that I'm going to live in guilt and shame over, which I'm going to eventually drink because of, right? So that's my will, my way of thinking. I've been asked to turn my will over to the care of God as I understand him. Okay, throughout every single one of my days, I reach a point where I don't know what to do. The old Kyle, what he would have done is done what he wanted to do, live life off of self-will. I'm going to put more effort into this, right? I'm going to try harder. I'm going to make this work. I don't care what I have to do to manipulate the world, manipulate this person or this situation. I'm going to get it done, okay? That's me controlling the show. And when it didn't work out, right, I'd slip into self-pity and resentment. Now, my life, how it has been described to me, okay, is my actions. My actions today have depicted what my life has done. Right, when I woke up this morning, what things I did next, okay, that's how my life has been today. Well, if my thoughts control my actions, okay, and I have that 5% glitch, you bet. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but if I hold on to my self-will, it might be soon when that good idea comes, right? I react on that good idea because I want, my self-will to be reality. I make the action, right? And I end up drunk wondering what the hell happened. Have you guys ever asked yourself that? What happened? Guess what? You happened, right? The world didn't. I was the only one standing in my way my entire life. All the way back from when I worked myself, and I realized that I had a directional shift in the way I thought about myself in 4th grade. Okay? That's where I started changing my way of thinking. My 4th grade teacher told me I was stupid in front of a class, and by God, she was right. Okay, I was going to spend the rest of my life proving it wrong. But regardless, she was my teacher, so it wasn't going to happen. Okay, that was my way of thinking all the way up until I was 40 years old. It's a long, long time to fight and battle this disease and still be alive. Right? So, after I got sick and out of the hospital, I started working in physical therapy, helping people in the hospital. I started in the hospital and then outpatient, and I started working out again. Two of the most dangerous things for my disease that there is. Some people it's women, some people it's sex, some people it's cell phones and Instagram and Facebook and all of that stuff, right? Those were the two things that kept me sick for the longest time. It's hard to realize that now. The gym kept me sick. Work kept me sick. Okay? I wasn't working a spiritual program. I remember my sponsor, after we got done doing it, my fifth step, he says, "Do you know what your biggest character defect is?" And I said, "I don't. I got a lot of them. I know that." And he says, "Self-seeking." And in my mind, right, that was the last character defect that I would ever thought I had, because I give you my $5, last $5 out of my wallet, and I was going to run out of gas on the way home. I'll give you my shirt and freeze to death, right? Never wanting anything in return. Okay, I almost put my hands around my sponsor's neck, and he's standing in this room, and he knows how upset I got, right? This guy doesn't know shit. I went home, okay, and sat and in anger and resentment, and I said, wait a minute. I told myself this time around I was going to have an open mind, and I was going to be willing to listen to what was said. The next day, he kindly explained it to me that, every single time I worked with somebody, and bettered their life, okay, I didn't want anything in return, but it made me feel like a good person. Self-seeking 101, right? I was making people's lives better just like I was before I got sick, and I was getting sicker and sicker, right? These are the things that the program has taught me. I love my program. I'm going to get a little bit more into it here in a minute. But so I spent the last 12 years on that pattern. I finally started dating. It was toxic, right? Imagine that. A relationship that's toxic, that has a sick person in it, of mind and body, right? Why wouldn't this relationship be healthy? She fulfilled me. I took care of her, right? Up until the point I would relapse over and over and over again. Okay? I spent the last couple of years in that way of thinking. Make sense? Any of you been there? Yeah, probably. So let's talk about my last relapse and what it did to me. My last relapse, I was miserable. Okay, like I said, I picked up my first drink on my 365th day of sobriety, and that distance between me and my disease had gotten so thin, okay, that on that morning before 8 o'clock, right, I turned around and the only thing left was my disease, and I turned to it. Well, this is it. This is my last choice. I went downhill extremely fast. I ended up face down in my apartment complex, with cops, pinning me to the ground, not knowing why. I woke up in Pronghorn, not knowing why. I have big chunks of my life that are missing. I don't know why I parked my excursion into my garage door, right? If I parked it in a garage door, like I said, guys, I'm not here to be funny. How easy it would have been for me to park it in a family of 4? My garage door held up. They may not have. That's my way of thinking now, right? I'm a lethal, machine when I'm out there intoxicated, not knowing where I'm driving, how I got there. Okay? That's how miserable I was. I'm putting people's lives at danger for my own, ignorance, my disease. And here's the thing, no longer was I drinking for the effect it produced. I was miserable. Every time I took a drink, I got more and more miserable. I wasn't happy when I was sober, wasn't happy when I was drunk. Okay? The physical craving had hit me so hard that I couldn't go more than 2-3 hours. I was the guy at Circle K, okay? at 5:58, spending the longest 2 minutes of my life waiting for them to be able to sell me my next booze. Right? Okay? And I'm too prideful to walk up to somebody and ask for help. But I'll sit there at 5:58 morning after morning with these same people looking at this guy just saying, this guy sucks. I wouldn't want to live in his shoes to save my life. And I don't want to go to a meeting and ask people for help. I don't want to read a book. Okay? That's too much work. It takes too much time. I got this. The insanity. Right? I was doing the exact same things over and over and over every single day. Led up to my third DUI. Yes, I had chalked up 2 more before this. It's no wonder when I get drunk, I drive. I do not have a decision making the minute that I put alcohol in my body, you guys. Okay? There's no honeymoon phase. There's nothing. It's thank you. Okay? Kyle Cannon, your thoughts and your actions and can just sit in the back seat right now because I'm going to control you. Okay, so I got my third DUI. And I said, okay. Spent 2 days, 3 days, I don't know, in jail, and I got out. What did I do? I walked straight down from, the jail and had somebody buy me a pint because I needed my medicine. I was sick, and poor me, I just got my third DUI. I deserve to get drunk. Back and forth, I still kept doing it. I started manipulating the people that I love. I need to take a cab here. Cab would take me to the grocery store and bring me back, and my parents would pay for my booze, not knowing it. That's what I had turned into. Am I that type of person? I had to ask myself that. So I went in and got some help. It was either that or I was going to eat a bullet. Okay? And this is where I finally surrendered. I didn't surrender against you guys. I didn't surrender against the world. I didn't surrender against anything except myself, right? Because I was my biggest problem. I was living life off of self-will. And for some reason, right, that 5% glitch was coming around more often than not. Okay, and my actions were proving it. Okay? And so I surrendered. I did exactly what the program said. I was in treatment at this time, and I didn't have tons of counseling and treatment. I didn't. I had a sponsor that had picked me out probably 3 weeks before that. And he picked me out because I walked into a meeting, and out of probably 50 people, I was the sickest guy that he saw in the room. That's how he found me, right? Let him pick a tough project. So I started working with my sponsor. I took suggestions. I read the big book. I studied the big book, right? I did everything that was suggested of me. Not perfectly, you guys. I'm far from perfect, right? I can't even change my way of thinking. I've proven that, right? Because my way of thinking is always going to get back in the exact same, cycle of will. And for 95% of it, I'm going to do good, and that 5% is going to come, and guess what's going to happen? That's what I realized today. So it's very important for me to work a program, stay connected to the program. Everybody in here probably has related to something that I've said about my life story, has related to that. Do you know what that tells me? I'm in the right place, okay? If I was sitting in a different room with people that did not have the disease of alcoholism or addiction, and I said most of this, they would look up at it and say, this guy's crazy. They should have left him in jail. And there's times maybe I should have been left there. Right? So the solution, for 12 years, right, half measured availed me nothing. I worked a program based out of fear and pain. Oh my God, I got my second DUI, I better get my life together, right? I might have to spend some time. I got to show myself to this judge. I need to go get my AA card, signed and validated and show it and just say, hey, look, I'm being a good boy, right? I had to tell my whole family, hey, I can't have dinner tonight at 6 because I have my AA meeting, right? As I'm sitting through the meeting with my mind shut down, right? Hearing these terms like don't leave before the miracle happens and having me react like shut up, right? Well, it's amazing. How many times did I leave before the miracle happened? I've relapsed probably 12 times in the last, I don't know, 13 years. So obviously, I left 13 times before the miracle happened. I used to hear these things and not understand. Now that, the side that I am on this side, right, I'm just like, holy shit, they're right. Right? I live my life a day at a time. Why would I live it for yesterday? Yesterday's over. I did my nightly review, and anything that I did wrong yesterday, I cleaned up first thing this morning. Why would I live for tomorrow? I could get hit with a bus on the way home. I live 24 hours at a time. My program teaches me that. I used to live so far in the past, okay, and so far in the future, and I hear this at every meeting, and it's so true, right? I didn't know, which day I was going to have more, anxiety or depression. Was I going to think about the past and be depressed all day, or was I going to think about the future and have anxiety? Okay, well, I guess I need to go work out more because I have a lot of anxiety today. That's how I handle my problems. Now I just turn them over. I'm not strong enough to deal with that. Right? It's no wonder I don't have any anxiety today or any fears. It says there in the book, right? If we take such a position, we lose our fear of today, tomorrow, and thereafter. And that's happened to me. And I do fear things. I fear losing a loved one, which is a logical fear, yeah. I fear sharks, right? You won't see me swimming in the ocean anymore. But I don't fear not being good enough. I don't fear making mistakes that I could learn from. Right? I don't fear giving, advice that may not be true because, hey, my intentions are good today. Right? I don't fear those things. I don't fear, standing up here looking like a dipshit. I don't. Right? I don't. Those are all things that my sick mind, my will put into, my directional thinking so that, my disease would win. I say this to a lot of people. It's, step one, we talk about powerless over alcohol, and I'm not going to get into the steps, what I'm going to tell you. Okay, if you've admitted that means that there's a power greater than you, and it's alcohol and your addiction. Okay, and we have a hard time believing and turning our will and our life over to something power greater than ourselves. But we'll turn it over to our disease every single time. Yes? Doesn't that sound insane? Right? My life is not going well. I'm going to turn it over to my higher power. I'm going to ask, hey, booze, what should I do? Drink? Okay. Right? And I end up drunk. Instead of focusing on a power greater. Right? Say, what would you have me do in this moment? Show me the right path. Okay? An intuitive thought or action. And then I just leave it alone. And usually it works out. Right? For the longest time, my higher power was alcohol, my disease. Right? Because I live life based off of self-will. Okay? And it was only a matter of time before I hit that 5% and my disease says, well, checkmate. Okay? I live my life in peace and serenity today. That was never me before. It's really hard to get my heart rate up over situations because 99% of the situations have nothing to do with me. I can't affect. Right? I work with other people to try and show them the path. My sponsor and I were talking about this. He said, Kyle, I didn't get you sober. He says, I saved your life, which he did. He said, I didn't get you sober. He said, you were ready. And I don't understand that, any more than I do today is if you're not ready, there's not a person in this room that could save your life. Right? I believe my higher power has been trying to direct me for a long time. I just shut him out because I knew better. My way of thinking was better. Right? People ask, what's one of the funniest things that you've done in your life? And I said, thinking that I can control my disease. Who was I fooling? Right? Powerless. So, and it's true. My sponsor was there to guide me through the path just like his sponsor did and make suggestions. Okay, and take a look at me from the outside and tell me quit being selfish, quit being resentful, quit being a baby, right? Good job, you're making changes. Okay, he recognizes these things in me because my own self-will, I've been living it for 40 years, you guys. That's a very hard pattern to break. It is. But today, I make that decision every single morning. I do my steps 1, 2, and 3. I wake up and I realize who I am. I'm powerless over my alcohol. My life's unmanageable. I can't have come to believe a power greater than myself can restore me to sanity. And that power isn't alcohol. It's somebody that wants me to do good in my life. No longer is it about me and the things I want, right? It's what I can contribute to life. And I'll tell you what, my life gets better and better every day. Every single time I see a smile on another alcoholic's face. Every single time I do the next right thing when nobody's looking, right? I get more peace and serenity. When I was young, you guys, 25 years old, I had $63,000 in my checking account. My ex-wife was Miss Northeast Nevada, and she was just as beautiful inside as out. I had a wonderful home, right? Tons of money, okay? And one would look at that as success. I was dying inside. I had all of those things because I was distracting myself just long enough and just hard enough, right, to get through another day, okay? I look at success a totally different way now, right? I don't fear today, tomorrow, or the hereafter. Right? I don't judge myself for my mistakes or my past. I heard somebody say, our past is our greatest asset. That's totally true. It's taught me what not to do. It showed a pattern of my own way of thinking and where it's got me in my life. Right? It had me camping in a bottle I don't know how many times. It's not a good place to camp, right? So my success today, right, is peace and serenity. We said the serenity prayer, at the beginning of this meeting. Do you know how many times I would get myself in trouble, right? See if you guys relate to this. I'd be sitting in jail saying, God, grant me the serenity, right? Or I'd be drunk or, breaking up with a girl or in a fight or something. Oh, give me the serenity. Okay, I was using that to get me out of the shit I just got myself into. Pardon my French, right? Go home and think about what that serenity prayer says, right? It's instructions. Let me go through this life, okay, and accept the things I can't change. Serenity is peace. Let me be at peace throughout my day, just knowing Kyle Cannon is not that important, which I don't want to be that important, but he's not that important to be able to affect everything in life, and I need to be at peace with that. Okay, the courage to change the things I can. Courage, what is it? It's facing your fears, right? Obviously, I can change this, but I'm going to probably have to deal with some shit. I'm going to probably have to do something I don't want to do. I'm going to probably have to get uncomfortable. Please allow me the courage to do that and the wisdom to know the difference. Tell me what to apply in my life and what to cut out, right? That's what I do today. That's what that serenity prayer means to me. No longer do I just say it, right, when I've just realized Kyle Cannon got in his own way and he got arrested again. Right? Kyle Cannon, focused on his best way of thinking. And for some reason, I'm intoxicated. Imagine that. Right? So, you guys, I sit up here and I do what I do because I realize, just like my sponsor said to me, he didn't save my life. I can't save anybody's life. I'm not a hero, right? I can't change my own way of thinking. I'm going to say that again. I can't change my own way of thinking. I've proven that in the last 12 years. The steps in the program go in there and they clean that shit up, right? Pardon my French again. I'm doing pretty good, hey. Right? They clean that stuff up. You start to get farther away from your disease because every single day you talk to another alcoholic that may be struggling, okay? One that may be, giving you some experience, strength, or hope, okay? You connect to a higher power, and whatever your higher power is your higher power. It doesn't matter, okay? But it can't be you. It can't be another human form, and it definitely can't be drugs and alcohol. Do you agree? Okay. You get a sponsor and you call them. How many times, when your drug dealer doesn't answer the phone, do you call them in the next 10 minutes? Right? How many grocery stores did I attack before one of them said, just here, get the fuck out of my face, Kyle? Right? Over and over. Okay, you call your sponsor like your life depends on it. Because it did. And it does. Right? When your sponsor says something that pisses you off, be excited, right? Because he's about ready to change your thinking into, a better direction, You guys, I tried this. And I consider myself a pretty tough guy. I'll never forget this. My mom always used to say, and of course, you know, the gym was one of my addictions, so I've always been a pretty big guy. And my mom, every single time I'd relapse, she would look at me and she'd say, you know what, Kyle, you're the biggest guy I know, all strong and all these muscles everywhere. And she goes, you're the weakest person I know in your heart and your mind. And it used to make me so mad, right? So mad. Because in my outer shell, if you looked at me, you'd say, this guy's impenetrable, right? My heart was so broken. It was so damaged, right? I just wanted somebody to come up and hold me. That's where I was at, right? Today, my heart and my mind have made a flip. They're strong, and I don't worry that much about my body. It'll take care of itself, right? But the distance between me and my disease, I feel, is getting farther and farther away based on the actions and my thoughts that I do in the day and turning my life over to my higher power. I can't afford to let it get close to me. I can't, right? I won't make it back. I made it back, and I don't know how. Maybe I'm serving my purpose by being up here today. Maybe this is my purpose with what my God wants me to do, right? It's not about Kyle Cannon's little plans and ideas. I go home and sleep well at night because it's not what I got, what I want today, right? The things that I could change in the world I did, right, in my program so freely because it saved my life. So you guys, here's the number one thing that I would ask you, and then I'll shut up, okay, is are you ready? Have you had enough? Okay? Do you have that gift of desperation that you'll block your drug dealer's number, right, and you'll call your sponsor over and over and over again until he answers, and you just spill your guts on him and just say, help me. I need my help or your help. I can't do this. Are you willing to do that? Because if you're not, cunning, baffling, and powerful, that's our disease. It's going to find you. It's going to hunt you down. It's going to get you. I'll guarantee that. Right? Rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. Right? This time I could say I didn't half-ass it. I thoroughly followed the path. Right? I did. And it changed my life. I didn't change my life. My way of thinking sucked. Plain and simple. Right? And I couldn't change my way of thinking. All right? The program did. I'm extremely blessed to come up here and be able to share my message with you. You know, it's an honor to be up here, and it's an honor to be a part of Alcoholics Anonymous. I see a lot of people in here that I've worked with or had the ability to chat with and talk with, right? What a blessing, right? And like I said, we're some of the finest people, but until we decide to, put our thinking aside and live the life we're supposed to, we're going to struggle. Don't do that another minute in your life. Thank you guys, and God bless.
All right, let's give another big hand for our speaker, Kyle.